In this section, I want to change my configuration and go for OSPF. OSPF is a better idea, a better routing protocol in your network if you have different branches, or if you have different link space, or if you want to go for a better standard and better metric calculation, and everything goes for OSPF. Okay, I'm not going to talk about theories again. I want to show you the configuration of OSPF on different routers. I have removed all RIP configuration from my routers, and I want to go to router 1 and start configuring OSPF in these routers. But first of all, I want to put all these routers into one area. That's going to be area backbone or area 0. If you are going to put all your routers in one area, it doesn't matter which area you are going to put them in. But if you want to have different areas, you need to have at least one area backbone or one area 0. Okay, let's go to router 1 and start configuring OSPF. First of all, I need to go to routing, select OSPF, and here, as you can see, I have only one area configured. That's the area backbone. Actually, in other platforms, you can refer to this area as area 0. If I double click on this, you can see that this is a default area type. It has an area ID of 0000. In MikroTik, you need to assign an area ID for any area you create, and this area ID is a 32-bit number. And you can see that I can have different instances of OSPF, and I can define different areas for these instances. Right now I only have one instance running on this router. The name of area is backbone. You need to assign a name here. In other routers you need to assign a number in other platforms such as Cisco. But here, area backbone is the name of area 0 actually. I click on OK and go for networks. As you can see, there is no network configured here. Network configuration is the same as network configuration in RIP. Any network you add here, any interface in this range will participate in OSPF routing process. But before that, I want to show you some more things, such as instance. As you can see, there is a default instance. Router ID is 0000. That means there is no router ID configured on this router. And you can see that it is not running. And it is not running because there is no network added to this router's OSPF process. And again, we have interfaces here. We do not need to assign interfaces to OSPF process. Only when we want to change some configuration on an interface, we need to click on this plus sign and add an interface. Otherwise, all interfaces are going to be added dynamically. Okay, let's go to instances and double click on this instance. You can see that I can change the router ID from here. If I do not change the router ID will be selected based on the biggest loopback interface's IP address, or if there is no loopback interface, the biggest or the largest or the highest or whatever you call it, the highest IP address of an interface that is working. But I prefer to change router ID manually. I want to show it in later sections. Cancel this out and go to networks and start configuration. Click on this plus sign. On router 1 I have 10.10.12.0/24 under backbone. Again, I have 10.10.13.0/24, and again, because I have only area backbone, I'm not going to select anything else. I click on OK, and I want to add loopback 0 as well. That is 1110/24, and you can see that I am selecting networks. That means any interface in this range of IP addresses will be added to the list of interfaces dynamically, and this D flag means these are added dynamically. Okay, now I have configured OSPF on one router. Let's go to router 2 and configure OSPF here. If I go to routing, go to OSPF, You can see again I have an area ID of 0000 for area backbone. I don't have any network configured yet. The instance does not have a router ID and it is not running. Let's go to networks and click on this plus sign. 10, 10, 12, 0/24 is one of my networks. That is going to be under area backbone. I have 192.168.24 under backbone, and I have 2220/24 under backbone. Now if I go to instance, I can see the instance is running, and if I go to interface, you can see these interfaces have been added dynamically. But what I want to show you right now is this part. Ethernet 2 has a neighbor. This neighbor is an active neighbor. That means we have an adjacency between router 1 and router 2, and because these two have some conditions met, they can create an adjacency with each other. That means they are going to be neighbors. And what are these conditions? I want to talk about this later, but as a quick review, these two should be in the same area. They are both in area backbone. These two should have the same hello and dead interval. These two should have the same network type. These two should have the same authentication type, and if they have authentication, they need to have the same authentication key as well. And these two should have the same what do you call it? The same maximum transmission unit, MTU. And again, I want to talk about these later. Click on OK, and that's it. Now if I want to put other routers into this area, I can go to router 3 for example and do this from routing OSPF. Click on plus sign. 10, 10, 13, 0/24 is under area backbone. 3330/24, and I want to add 172.16.35 0/24. And if I go to interfaces again, I can see that Ethernet 1 that is neighboring router 1 has a neighbor. And because of those conditions that I mentioned a little bit ago, we have a neighbor here. Let's go to routes. I want to see if there is any route advertised to me, or if I am advertising any route to other routers. You can see that. For instance default, in area backbone, I have some destination addresses advertised to me, and this is the incoming interface. I have a cost, and I have an state that tells me this is intra area. That means anything that I am receiving here is in the same area as I am in. What about the cost? The cost is added to the cost is cumulative. If I want to show you this, I have a cost of 10 to reach router 1, a cost of 10 to reach router 2, and a cost of 10 to reach the loopback 0 of interface loopback 0 of router 2. And I can change the cost if I wish. So you can see that this is the easiest way to configure different routers into OSPF areas. But what I want to show you again is this. If I go to IP routes, I have these routes with a flag of O. This means this is advertised to me using OSPF, and it has a distance of 110. That is the administrative distance of OSPF. And of course, we have a preferred source. You can call it the router ID of the other router, but in the next section I want to show you if I change this router ID, it will change the preferred source as well. And of course, I'm going to show you this here.